And there she goes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good people, depending on where you are watching from. Welcome to another edition of My Morning Coffee, where the conversation is always hot, bold, organic, and full of flavor. Glad you're here with us on this awesome Monday. Looking forward to having this conversation today because we have been dealing with a plethora of overdoses in the media recently. But before we get into that, Miss Gia, what's in your cup and what have you been up to?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are, I guess. I have coffee in my cup this morning, Tonya. Coffee as usual. I need it this morning because for some reason I'm feeling very sleepy. So I'm having some coffee. I don't know if I'm sleepy because drove to Riverside yesterday and back, or if it's just maybe has something to do with the cocktails that I had yesterday too. Could be a little bit of that.
You've been drinking and driving. Hopefully, Lieutenant, you ain't drinking and driving. Drinking and driving.
No, I was not drinking and driving. No. But yeah, so I'm a little tired this morning, y'all. But what I know y'all see me, right? So y'all didn't do what I asked y'all to do anyway. I asked y'all if y'all wanted to see, because Tonya was talking about me at the last show about my hair and how she didn't recognize me. So I thought I would, let my hair down and let the people see the Gia that they don't see on a regular basis. But even though y'all didn't chime in, I asked y'all to chime in if y'all wanted to see it, and I didn't see no comments and nothing like that. But I figured I'd just bring it to y'all anyway. Let y'all see. This is the Gia that y'all don't get to see every day, all the time.
Actually, they did chime in. You just don't read the comments. They did say that they wanted to see.
Okay. Well, how about that? I didn't see the comments, nor did my my co-host.
I just figured you'd read them for yourself, but whatever. I digress.
So yeah,
you look amazing. You look amazing.
So I just thought I would just give y'all a little bit. Don't get excited and don't get comfortable because y'all ain't gonna see this Gia all the time. But I figured I'd bring her to y'all today so y'all can see me. So this is what I look like sometime when I want to look, I guess, cute. So yeah, but what have I been up to? I haven't really been up to nothing, not much since our last show. Just really kind of trying to relax, and I kind of been in a little creative, I guess, funk or so. I haven't really been feeling that creative lately, so I've just been laying low, trying to get my, as they say, get my mojo back. Oh but yeah, that's it. Not too much. What about you? What have you been up to?
Well, I got water, our little My Morning Coffee tumbler here, because I'm super thirsty. Nothing much. I ran 6.5 miles yesterday trying to get my workout in.
Wow.
Yeah. And somebody asked me not recently about, like, why do I work out so much? And I said, I used to work out for me, to take care of me, but now I actually work out for my family. Like, I literally have learned that you cannot take care of other people until you take care of yourself. And my workouts, they do include self-care. They say you're not supposed to answer your own questions. Listen, when I'm by myself, I am answering my own questions. I'm laughing at my own jokes. I am finding solutions to problems because I'm by myself and I get a chance to just, listen to the voice in my head rather than all the other clutter that goes on. So I do want to recommend to people that have not been taking the time to take care of yourself or take that me time to do it. It's important. You need to do it. It keeps you sane. And because there's so much chaos going on a regular basis, it gives you the opportunity to just be, right? You're not trying to impress nobody unless you're an Instagram model and then you in the gym or out trying to look cute instead of out trying to get a good workout. But for the most part, just trying to take care of myself while I'm taking care of my business and my family. That's really what's been going on. So I don't have my coffee this morning. I'm really trying to cleanse myself, my soul, and my adrenals. I read up on all that stuff. But I got my water today, and that's about it.
Well, speaking of trying to cleanse, it's funny. I'm not saying I've been trying to cleanse, but this month, I'm not gonna say it. Well, I've been trying to lay off some sugar. So I've been trying not to intake a lot of sugar. So I think I've been doing pretty good. I haven't gone like cold turkey, but I've been winging myself. So that's been a little.
It's hard. And for anybody that has tried it or want to try it, Ray is on day 20 something. So he goes through this no processed sugar, right? Just no processed sugar. So if you're going to drink apple juice, it's straight apple juice. It's not anything processed, punch, nothing like that. No sodas. So processed sugar, no processed, no added sugar. Try that. And see if you can at least do that for a while and how you feel. Because I will tell you, going cold turkey on anything that you've been addicted to, like sugar, it could cause you all kind of problems. So
I know it's been hard. Like Jeff and I are both doing it. He's so good. He's so diligent in his little thing. So we said for the whole month of October, we were gonna, not intake, sugars, and he's doing better than I am. I'm not gonna lie, my little sugar intake has been like my little creamer, flavored creamer in my coffee. That's I get my little sugar from there, but I haven't been eating any like the whole candy, my chocolates and stuff like that. So I've been doing pretty good with that. But I think when you tell yourself, like I'm gonna do it, at least for me, it's hard for me to do it that way. But if it just happens organically, I'm better at it, but I don't try to like think about it all the time. Like, oh, I can't have any sugar. And to be honest with you, I haven't really been thinking about the candies that I haven't been eating and the sweets and stuff too much. So I think I'm doing good. But I was thinking about when you were saying how your me time is, you work out and things like that. And I think my me time for me was really my being creative and stuff. So when I was saying I kind of lost my mojo, I haven't been creative. Sometime when I create that does really help me. But I did create, so I did do something yesterday when I was in Riverside. I went to a little not sipping paint. Well, we was sipping. I guess it was a sipping paint, but it was a little pre-birthday. My little sister, her birthday is next month, and she's taking a bunch of her girlfriends to Houston to celebrate her birthday. And of course I can't go because her birthday is around the same time as Jeff's birthday. And Jeff and I are doing something for his birthday. So she had a little pre-party just to give them logistics about the trip. But we had a little paint party. So I wanted to share my little painting that I did. So I kind of got my mojo back a little bit yesterday. So yesterday.
She cute.
Yeah. So I'm kind of pleased with her. I haven't, if you guys don't know, painting is really my first love, and I haven't been painting. I haven't painted in a while and stuff. So to paint yesterday was it felt good to have the brushes back in my hand and do a little, dabble with a little bit of paint and stuff. So that was exciting. So hopefully I will continue to create some things. Keep my mojo.
I have a feeling that you're going to be creating a lot coming up. So maybe you should just call this a little sabbatical, because I think some things are going to be popping up that you'll be doing a lot of creating. Now, I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see. So listen, I know that we have had the conversation before about substance abuse, and we've lost a lot of people to overdoses recently, but it's not new. And before we bring on our guest, I would love for you to tell the people, because I like putting you on the spot, your experience working narcotics since you've been in law enforcement.
You sure do love to put me on the spot. Of course, you guys know I'm a LA County Sheriff's Department lieutenant. I've been working I've been on the job for 30 years. So, and throughout my 30-year career, I had a chance to work our narcotics unit during my career. And actually, I was telling Tonya, that was kind of when I was actually Tonya, we were talking to our guest that's coming on. That was probably one of the funnest times on the department was working narcotics. And she was like, really? Like, why? You know, and stuff. And for me, it was really because we worked as a team. Most narcotic units, they're small teams. Sometimes 4, 5, 6, eight members to the team, and it's like it's just the chase of you get a lead, you get information, and you do your investigation, you work up everything to go and actually make an arrest on a person or persons that you're looking for. So that was fun, and then the camaraderie of being on the team, and it was the first time in my career that I didn't have to wear a uniform. So that was kind of cool. You could just dress down. And because when you in a uniform job, people that work in a uniform job, you know what it's like. Every day it's the same thing, the uniform and stuff like that. So you always when you get a chance to, as we say, dress down, you grab that opportunity. So that was kind of fun, trying to dress like I was, from the neighborhood at times and stuff like that. And then you got to do a lot of, UC work. And so that it was fun, So I enjoyed my time when I worked in narcotics, and you get to see a lot. You get to see like a lot of substance abuse. And when you go in people's houses and stuff, you see a lot of things that's going on in the homes, and a lot of children are around a lot of this stuff. And you just sometimes shake your head because you're like, wow, this is happening in our communities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
I'm interested. So let's go ahead and bring on our guest. We are going to call him Detective Chris. And I'm wondering if, Detective, you can introduce yourself and then let them know why you can't be on camera, because I'm sure they want to.
Great. Good morning to both of you. Glad to be here. I am a 26-year veteran of law enforcement. I currently work in the Special Investigations Unit with the Redondo Beach Police Department. And part of that assignment, probably the majority of our assignment in SIU, is narcotics investigations, street level and mid-level dealers, primarily in the city of Redondo. But as the lieutenant will attest to, sometimes our leads take us outside the city, and we'll follow those leads and arrest people outside the city. I can't be on camera because I work surveillance and undercover at times. And in this assignment, there is an aspect of safety. So we can't reveal our last name. I can't reveal my photo for officer safety reasons.
I can appreciate that. So here's the question. You and Gia have both just talked about how fun, we talked earlier before you got on, how fun narcotics is. Can you explain to people from your perspective why you would consider it an enjoyable part of your job?
Well, yeah, it's kind of exciting. So as the lieutenant was speaking to, there is a team concept. SIU is 4 team members, 3 detectives and a sergeant. We work together throughout the work week. And quite often we work with other narcotics teams on investigations throughout the county, and sometimes with the sheriff's department. That's enjoyable, working as a member of a team. The other part is, as the lieutenant talked about, when you get a lead, you're tracking down the lead, you're trying to identify who this drug dealer is. They're trying to hide their identity, where they live. And this investigation is you're trying to track them down and catch them. So I guess it's a little bit of thrill of the chase, and knowing that, you're contributing to the safety of the community. I think those things all together.
Where do these investigations usually start? With a lower level drug case with, just someone on the corner peddling small amounts? Or do you, with the work that you do, get it when it becomes something more?
Several sources. So one source would be the patrol officers when they make an arrest out in the field. And we don't really deal with possession, We're just dealing with the sales type cases, the felonies, people that are selling narcotics. So a patrol officer will make an arrest, book that person into jail, and what we'll do is we'll follow up on that information. And other sources are Crime Stoppers, people call in anonymous tips. And another source are confidential informants, which are quite useful. So basically, those three sources to initiate an investigation.
Uh,
And go ahead.
I was going to say something else about when you asked about when we say it was a great time in our career. Another thing for me was when working narcotics, being a narcotics investigator, detective. That was my first experience, really, when you really get to work hand in hand with the district attorney's office. And that's the part about law enforcement a lot of people don't see, because most of the time when you're patrol, like Officer Chris said, the patrol person is going, making an arrest, books a person in jail, and that's kind of end of your job as far as patrol. Then detectives come in and they interview the person and things like that. But in narcotics, when you want to get a case filed or get a warrant or some things like that, you have to go in and really, you have to almost really pitch your case. So stuff that like you do, Tonya, in PR, you have to pitch stuff. And so you get to learn and you get to really work with the DA's office, and you get to really see what is needed to bring an arrest all the way through to trial and stuff like that. So that was very, to me, rewarding on that aspect, because you meet a lot of great people, and you get to interact with the other side of the other law enforcement side.
Yeah, Chris, in comparison to the other departments that you've worked in, can you give us some more background about your experience? So what other departments have you worked in?
All right. I've been around a little while. I'm a little older. I started off in the 80s in Houston, Texas. I grew up in Michigan. Early 80s in Michigan, there was a recession, not a lot of jobs. Houston was boomtown USA. Houston PD was hiring a lot of cops. So I went down there. That's where I got my start. I actually started at 19 years of age in the academy. And then I always had my eye on LAPD in California. So after about 6 years with Houston, I came out to LA in '87 and joined LAPD and worked a lot of great assignments with LAPD. I actually worked gang narco assignments with LAPD as well. After about 20 years, I retired and became a pilot. I was an airline pilot for 15 years.
What?
At a regional airline, SkyWest Airlines. And after about 15 years of that, I wanted to come back to police work. So 5 years ago, I came back for my second tour, and here I am with Redondo PD and having a great time.
What is it about police work that drives you?
I think, several things. It's not an office job. You're outside. I think a big aspect for me is working with people, dealing with the community, just that, working problems that the community has, and going out there, meeting with victims and trying to get some closure for them. And the other aspect is the investigation aspect, taking a case, putting it all together and presenting it to the DA. So, and it's just very rewarding.
I can appreciate that. So one of the reasons, obviously, I wanted to have you on today is because we do have a pretty high number of overdoses and drug crimes taking place in the South Bay. I would like for you to tell us what that looks like right now and kind of what your course of action has been in your job.
So if you're speaking to the fentanyl problem, that is an issue. But, I was reviewing some stats with LA County, and actually the number one overdose death is attributed to methamphetamine, believe it or not. Fentanyl is second. But this whole opioid crisis probably started 20 years ago. There's lots of documentaries out there about the opioid crisis, and some people think that opiates were overprescribed by doctors, and then people can't get access to their prescriptions, and then seek out heroin or other opiates like oxycodone, and that has now currently translated into fentanyl. So fentanyl is a legal drug, but the problem on the street now is not with the legal fentanyl; it's illegal fentanyl that's being manufactured in Mexico. The Mexican drug organizations manufacture fentanyl, and they press pills called an M30, which is supposed to be, resemble an M30 oxycodone pill, but ostensibly is really a fake pill with fentanyl in it, which mimics the opioid high. And if you get that dosage wrong, you're going to have a fentanyl overdose and die. Our enforcement aspect here in Redondo is we're going after, the street sellers, the mid-level dealers. In fact, last week in the county, I won't say where because it's an ongoing investigation, we did make an arrest. We were able to make an arrest of someone with 4,300 fake M30 fentanyl pills, which if sold on the street would be worth about $65,000. On the street, each pill goes for about $15. So, even though we target these dealers, it's only a small dent. The problem is so large, it's nationwide. We're not going to be able to enforce our way out of it. It's really a public health crisis. And I think we need to do more education with young people, not in high school, probably junior high and elementary school. And DARE was a great program. We don't have DARE anymore. I don't know what happened to it, but there's been talk in my unit and here at the Detective Bureau that maybe we should put something together and go to these elementary schools and junior high schools and educate these kids about the dangers of drug abuse, and especially, the dangers of fentanyl, because people are dying. The sheriff's published a number. Looking here, it says in 2020, there was 1,173 deaths involving fentanyl in LA County. So that's about 3 a day. So it's a pretty serious issue.
Yeah, it really is, Tonya, because even in the jail, I know when they first introduced the Narcan to us, a lot of people were like, well, what are we going to do with this? Why do we need this? But believe it or not, we've had, you have a lot of people that get incarcerated, and they actually, are for drugs, and they start ODing inside the jail. So that we had to issue Narcan to, the staff there. So in case that they're working their modules when this happens. And then also too, they had a program when we release people from jail, they released them with Narcan for that reason, what Officer Chris is talking about, because it's a lot of people out there using it. And like he said, it's coming in from these places and they're putting stuff with it, and people are using drugs on the street and they don't really know what they're getting. And they're getting this messed up stuff. It's causing them to overdose and die.
So the drug dealers are manufacturing drugs using a medicine, but they are not medical providers. So how much is lethal when you're talking about fentanyl? Is it a situation where, okay, growing up, I would see on shows, or even, not too long ago, people started lacing. First it was like marijuana, then they're lacing marijuana with other stuff. Okay. Then, you got coke, you got crack, people were just mixing. You're just mixing stuff. Like, is this a situation where you mix too much and this is what's causing the overdoses? And what is too much? And do they know that from your experience? From your experience, obviously.
Well, from what I've read, 2 milligrams can be a lethal dose of fentanyl.
How big is 2 milligrams?
So there's some pictures out there. I wish I could show you a photo. A lethal dose is like compared to a penny would be a very small part of the penny. It would be probably 9 or 10 grains, like salt grains.
Oh,
That could
wow.
be a lethal dose. And so either the whoever originally pressed that M30 fake fentanyl pill got the dosage wrong, or could also be an issue too is if someone was a former heroin addict and now they've transferred that addiction to fentanyl, maybe their body is not acclimated to that dose, and that causes an OD as well. So you don't know what you're getting on the street. Even if you buy methamphetamine, really, do you know what's in it? Um, Look at the overdose in West LA. 3 people died, and the one young lady survived a
Mm-hmm.
month or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think fentanyl was suspected in cocaine, which is unusual. So any street level narcotics, heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, you truly are taking a chance because you have no idea what's inside that drug. You're just trusting that drug dealer that you're getting methamphetamine, but you really have no clue.
So it's almost like Russian roulette.
It's exactly like Russian roulette. And it's so much more dangerous with fentanyl because fentanyl is so deadly. Um, you know, you can have a heroin addict with an addiction for 15, 20, 25 years and never overdoses. But fentanyl, if you get that, if you don't know how many uh, uh, micrograms of fentanyl are in that pill, and that's the problem.
With the statistics that you have, do you have any in particular about our youth, specifically about the young people in the South Bay or the young people dealing
Well,
with drugs?
the county statistics I have here. I'll give you one. So in 2019, from March to July, there was 201 fentanyl overdose deaths. In 2020, from March to July, there was 437, almost
Hmm.
double. And as I said, the sheriff's department published a number of 1137. I don't know what the breakdown is of juveniles, but I have knowledge of overdose deaths in Redondo in the last several years. I can think of 4 or 5 off the top of my head. Um, so it is a problem. It's a public health crisis, and we're not going to enforce our way out of it. I think we really have to educate young people about the dangers of illegal drug use, especially opioid use, because opioid use is it's a physical addiction and it's a mental addiction, and that's what's so devastating about the disease. It's not, people might say, well, they're an addict, uh, but they can't stop because it's so addictive. So, arresting somebody that's an addict is not going to have any effect whatsoever. And we go out there and arrest drug dealers, but we're not going to put a dent in the problem because the problem's so huge. So we're not going to arrest our way out of it. So we got to get together with the county health authorities and the schools, and it's a public health problem.
We have a question. How is an accidental fentanyl overdose determined as compared to a suicide death?
Well, the responsibility for the cause of death is in the coroner's office, as you know, and so they will determine if fentanyl was in the system. So whether or not it's classified as a suicide, that would be determined by detectives at the scene. If there was indications of depression, or if he left a note. If it's not determined definitively, then I'm assuming the coroner will classify it as accidental.
Accidental, but accidental suicide?
No, there's no determination for accidental suicide. So,
Okay.
suicide can only be confirmed with, somebody witnessed it, or if there's a note, he talked to somebody before he did it. So,
Mm,
you know, or with drugs, it's kind of obvious if you use a weapon.
got it.
But with drugs, it's a little more difficult.
Got it.
Yeah, you have to have a little bit more, like he said, just because this found in the system. If, like he said, if there's no note or nobody saw it or history, you have to do a real product, a really good workup to be able to say that fentanyl it was a suicide when fentanyl is used, because the coroner really can't tell you that. All he can, like he said, is tell you is it was either overdose for this drug, and he would probably rule it as accidental death unless he had more information to say it was another kind of death. So that's a kind of hard one to figure out. But I agree with Officer Chris that we do need more education in the schools and with our young people. Because, like you said, DARE was a good program. LAPD had DARE, and I believe we had the
Right.
STAR program in the Sheriff's Department. And I know people probably thought those programs, didn't make sense why we have them. But here it is. We have a problem again with drug use. And it's starting with young people. Young people are getting hold of this because it's like a party drug. People are, everybody wants to party and have a good time. And that's how the stuff gets introduced, I think, with young people, is in the schools and in these little parties that they go to. And we need more education, educating them about the drugs and the effects that these drugs can have on them, because you don't know what you're getting out there. You think you're getting one thing and you're getting something else. And you will never know, because again, a drug dealer is trying to get maximize their money. So of course they're gonna put all kind of stuff in there to give the appearance that their product is more potent and their product is a good product, but they're putting some bad stuff in there that's actually harming people.
So here's my question. You talked about fentanyl and it being manufactured pill form, right? Can they also inject it? And then
Yes.
what, if you're a parent, should you be looking for at home to decipher whether your child might need some help?
Yes. Fentanyl can be in powder form, and injected. It can be smoked. So you put it on tin foil. I found accidental deaths this way, victims that have inhaled the fumes. So you take tin foil. You could even crush the pill up, take a lighter, and melt the pills or the white powder on the tin foil and inhale the fumes. So look for tin foil. You could look for pills. You could look at, you got to be really hardcore to inject it. And I would see like the long-term heroin users, the street users that use heroin may transition to fentanyl if it's more readily available and cheaper. But if you're a parent in a suburban setting like Redondo, I think you're looking for pills. I think you're looking for tin foil. Burnt foil would be a classic indication of someone inhaling it.
Someone just said fumes. So
Yes.
seriously, just can you smell it? Now, I know what drugs smell like. I grew up in a certain type of household.
Right.
But for people that are not familiar with that, tell them what that smell smells like.
I don't know. I have not been around anyone that's actually inhaling. I couldn't tell you what it smells like, unfortunately. But I have been.
It's god awful. Okay. It's not like something you've ever smelled before in your life when drugs are in the air. It could actually be something you can smell on them. So start paying attention to your young people. If you start recognizing that there's some type of odor that you're not familiar with, start looking a little deeper into that. We have to start paying attention to when things start going awry, instead of just saying, oh, they're just, being a teenager, they're just hanging out with their friends. It's not something you've ever smelled before. You can smell it coming out of their skin. So pay attention to those things because it could make a difference. Chris, what else are we dealing with, particularly in the South Bay, in regards to substance abuse? I know we had a big vaping problem for a minute. What else is going on in this area that people should be on the lookout for?
Methamphetamine is probably the primary drug of use with most people because it's so cheap. Methamphetamine is a stimulant. Um, Fentanyl and opiates or a downer. I was just gonna, as you point there about recognizing the smell, one thing parents can do, recognize the physical symptoms of someone that's under the influence. They're easily looked up on the internet. Methamphetamine's a stimulant. Their pupils are going to dilate. They're going to be a little hyper. They might start speaking faster. Whereas an opiate, heroin or fentanyl, is a downer. So your pupils will be constricted, slower speech, slower movements, on the nod, sleeping, such as that. But back to your question, I think methamphetamine is the primary drug. Um, we just recently had a large seizure of ketamine.
Mm.
So ketamine is kind of like a rave type drug. It's also been tied to shown to be a date rape drug. Ketamine is a dissociative anesthetic similar to PCP. I've seen ketamine recently. Adderall, Xanax is a big problem. And of course, the fentanyl is a problem, but not the primary problem. So it's
Mm.
just across the board. I've seen LSD. I've recovered some LSD in the last month. So just pretty much anything you can think of, it's out there.
Wow. So I'm flabbergasted because you just talked about different drugs. Some are stimulants, some are downers. But my question is, don't they mix these?
They can. I just spoke with an aunt of a young lady that overdosed not too long ago in Redondo, and she knew that young lady was doing that exact same thing, mixing uppers with downers to create a more intense high, supposedly. So I have heard that. I've heard people mix fentanyl with cocaine just for that reason, which is pretty dangerous. I think back in the old days, the term was speedball, and
Mm.
John Belushi OD'd from a speedball. It was cocaine and heroin. So apparently, I don't know what the exact effect is, but there's a high aspect and there's a low aspect. So, but it can be quite dangerous. Any drug
Wow.
use, it can be potentially dangerous. And so people, we're talking about the fentanyl opioid crisis and the ODs happening nationwide. But last year, by the way, there was, according to the National Institute of Health, 93,000 overdose deaths total in the U.S. In comparison, in 1999, there was only 16,000. So it's been increasing every year since then.
Why?
I, I,
How? If
well, I think part of the problem in the last year or two is COVID, the pandemic didn't help. A lot of people out of work, a lot of people at home, maybe may have turned to drugs. That's a big increase. But um, I think one thing in California that has not helped was the 2014 laws that decriminalized possession. So there's might be, this social aspect that possession and use of drugs are okay and not that serious, but it can be serious if you get a hold of the wrong drug. So I think it's a larger national issue with decriminalizing the aspect. And, even when prior to 2014, when mere possession of hard drugs like cocaine or heroin was a felony, truly nobody really went to prison in LA County for mere possession. My experience, even back in the 80s, was they would be diverted to diversion and try to get help. But I think it's the whole public consciousness of, trying to decriminalize drugs, which is, there's a good aspect in that it's a medical problem, but we've kind of shied away from our attention to the problem, and I think it's just increased every year.
It's funny how well, it's not funny. I shouldn't say to use it's the word funny, but it seems like a lot of people use drugs as a coping mechanism for whatever they're dealing with, and that's something that needs to get addressed too, because what is going on, out here in society that people that have people turning to drugs to cope, and that's where it all starts with. They're coping, trying to cope with whatever they're dealing with, be it an injury, or pain, and they was prescribed pain medication, and they got addicted to it and stuff. So it's all kind of reason. That's one reason why sometimes, like when I get, doctor prescribes all these medicines, for you to take, I don't like to take them, because for that reason alone, I don't want to get addicted to anything. So I just suffer through the pain. But a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people, they turn to the legal drugs to get rid of the pain, but then that's how I think sometimes it starts that
Absolutely.
way, and then and then they kind of spiral. So I think so. We really, as a society, need to really start addressing the coping, how people cope with things, because like you said, COVID happened, people lost their jobs, things just didn't go right. Some people lost marriages, stuff like that. So they turn to stuff, and they turn to drugs. And that's the really heartbreaking part of it all. And then now you have a person that was trying to deal with one thing. Now they're dealing with something else. They're dealing with their addiction too.
Right. And this opioid crisis really started about 20 years ago. And some people will say that opiates were overprescribed, and that became a focus. And then doctors start scaling back, but these people are now addicted. So they had to turn to illegal sources to maintain their addiction, because that opioid addiction is so mentally and physically powerful. Besides the mental aspect, you want it every day. The physical aspect, if you stop, there are severe physical symptoms when you withdraw. So people don't want to go through that. So they continue and do whatever they have to do to acquire drugs, whether legal or illegal.
Officer, I wanted to ask you, why did you wind up leaving LAPD for Redondo, and how has your experience been working at Redondo Beach Police Department?
Well, when I left LA, I didn't come right to Redondo. I went into the civilian sector, pursued my other dream, and became a pilot for 15 years. That was a lot of fun.
That's right.
But when I came back, I chose Redondo specifically because of the community support that I saw and heard that the citizens had for the department and the officers here. And I worked large cities before, Houston and LA, which, as you know, are quite busy. And you're just kind of a number over there. And I wanted something a little smaller, an area that wasn't quite as busy, and the strong community support and programs that they had in here. And Redondo has been all those things. I have no complaints about Redondo PD or the community here. It's been great.
I love that. Well, let us know if there's anything else you think is important for parents to know about drug addiction or drug awareness here in the South Bay, and how they can be more proactive. We don't have DARE yet. It would be great if we could get it back. And if you have any ideas on how we could, share that.
Yeah, I think we were just talking about that this morning with my Lieutenant Saucedo, another detective in the unit, and we were thinking about approaching one of our CBOs, community-based officers, and putting together a presentation for the school kids here in Redondo. I think that's going to be a huge aspect. We really have to start when people are young. You really have to start in junior high and elementary school. As for parents, there's a lot of information on the internet. I don't know if you were able to see it. I sent you a short video from YouTube about the dangers of fentanyl use.
Yes, yes.
Called,
I'll put that on our page.
that was pretty powerful, right?
Yep, absolutely.
It's called Dead on Arrival. Parents need to watch that. Parents need to be, I know everyone's busy with their jobs and everything else in their life, and they don't always monitor what's going on with their kids. But even when they're in grade school, junior high, just try to pay attention to what's going on in their life. And I think you can and sit down and have a conversation with them about the dangers of drug use, and especially the dangers of opioids and fentanyl. I think that's a big part of it.
I agree with you, Officer Chris. Parents need to pay attention, and they need to stop saying "not my child," because sometimes it is your child. So they need to just pay attention and own up to it and get involved. Like you said, ask the questions, talk to your kids. Stop shoving the iPads in front of them and all that kind of stuff. Have conversations. Go back to where it used to be at the dinner table. Because you'd be surprised if you start talking to your kids, they might tell you some things that that can help them and you. So,
absolutely, 100%. Well, Officer Chris, we are excited to have you here. We want to thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your thoughts about some of the things going on drug-based. Is there anything else that you're working on that you actually enjoy at this point that might not be work related?
Well, that I do. I probably concentrate on work a little too much. I'm a bit of a workaholic. I like coming to work. I have been in my off-duty time trying to get back into flying, renting planes, and trying to maintain that aspect. So that's a lot of fun. I have a friend over at Montebello PD who flies a bit off duty, so I've been going out with him. So my personal life, recreation, I like doing that, but I still enjoy coming to work. And as the lieutenant will attest to, law enforcement's a great career. Another thing that I do on Redondo PD, I conduct background investigations of applicants, and we're always looking for great people to apply to our department. So, if you have some great candidates out there, send them our way.
I love that. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you around the community, hopefully at something fun soon.
Stop by the office.
Yes, we'll be dragging Gia out there to Redondo to hang out for a bit, and let's stay in touch.
Well,
yes, ma'am.
Who knows, Tonya, between you and Chris talking about how great Redondo Beach is, I might have to move into Redondo. I already told the chief I'm coming when I retire. I need some kind of job in the department or something for me to do.
We'll hire you.
Yeah, it's not nothing too stressful, but but maybe I could, do something. Maybe I'll apply for that background investigator job or something.
Yes, ma'am.
And find some good candidates for Redondo Beach PD.
That would be great.
I heard that. Well, we appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Be
nice
safe.
Meeting both of you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
You too. So, what'd you think?
Officer Chris had a lot of information. I hope our listeners heard some of it and do some research, because that fentanyl is nothing to play with. None of the drugs out there are anything to play with. But again, we have to educate ourselves too. We can't always wait for other people to educate us. We have to sometimes do our own work. And it's real. I've seen it. I've seen people OD on the streets. I've seen them OD, in the jail. So yeah.
I'm not an officer, and I too have seen that. When I was at Northridge, I went with a friend of mine to his mom's house, and I knew that he came from a background of addiction. So I just didn't expect what I saw when we walked in. So we went to go visit his mom, and she was very, she was so high. She couldn't
Yeah.
even, like, she was just like, whatever to me. And I could smell that smell. So I didn't want to come in the house. She was, oh, you're not going to come in? You think you too good? You
Yeah.
can't come in? And I was like, actually, yeah, I'm not coming in because I know that smell, meaning I also know what comes with that.
Right,
And
right.
I wanted to make it clear about the smell because there are certain things that parents and only parents can recognize about their household and their kids and things like that, that, you know, they'll try to brush off because they don't want to acknowledge that there's something there to be dealt with. So I just want to make the point that when something is going on with your kids, don't ignore it. Don't brush it under the rug. Find out what's going on and nip it in the bud. Handle it, right? Handle it. So, all that being said, yes, it's unmistakable. And I appreciate him spending the time to talk to our parents about that. What can we get Dare back? I mean, what happened? I thought it was great.
I think with all companies, you know, when it comes to budget and trying to, you know, when you're not getting, you know, the budget that you need from your city for in your case in a big department, the county, and you know, city and like LAPD, you start figuring out ways. You have to figure out ways how to maximize the money that you do have, and so programs like that again. They get cut. It's almost like, you know, when you start talking about the whole defund the police and stuff. Yeah, when that happens, they'll start cutting areas what they think that, you know, we need more officers here than there, so we'll cut that. And you know, it's just a lot of it comes down to dollars and cents funding. You know, if you don't have the money for programs like that, you don't have them. But I think if communities, people in the community who start demanding these things and speaking up, you know, going to these meetings and saying that you want this and you want that, you might be able to get those kind of things because they are good programs, you know, and stuff. Some people might think they're not, but because if you're not talking to your kids, teaching them about these kind of things, then where else are they going to learn it other than a program that's offered through, you know, the department or something like that? But they should also maybe partner up with some of the school boards, you know, and see if they could come up with something that, you know, funding can come from both ends and create some kind of program for drug education, because drug education is needed. Because the society we living in there's so much stuff going on and people are coping with so much stuff. That's what they do. They turn to things that help them to cope. And it's, you know, if I can,
it would be interesting if companies would stop. And I like for my nonprofit and civic organizations to look at themselves as a brand, but all of them should look at their dollars and cents and their budget with the ROI of human life. Like, how much is a human life worth to you? So when you're doing your budget and you're like, I don't have this in my budget, what would it cost to save another life? What would it cost to do that education program? And how many lives would you save if you enacted that program? Like, I think the humanity and of the job that is supposed to be done continues to get left out of the conversation and out of the budget. Yeah. We don't have the money for this. Okay, so we could possibly lose 10 to 15 young people because they don't understand what drugs can do to them or what to recognize. Even that, you know, there are places in a city that has a high crime rate. Are you even having those conversations with them? So if the kids are choosing where they should go hang out, you know, certain areas that have higher crime rates or arrests, they know about, like, there's just no communication that's taking place with young people, schools, and the cities. And, you know, parents don't want to talk about that stuff. So if we don't have a DARE or something like that, then those conversations never come up. I think with programs like DARE, at least you have the conversations at school and then they can take them back to their parents. Like, many parents don't know how to start the conversation. Hell, you have the conversation at school, they're gonna take it back to their mama and be like, this is what I heard at school. Okay, now you gotta address it. But
because most parents are not thinking about that kind of stuff. And that's again because they're going about their daily lives and stuff. But like you said, you're right. If it's talked about at school, then I come home, I talk to my parents at home. This is what I learned, I heard in school today. Then the conversation gets started. You know, it can continue. So yeah,
I don't think any good is done by not having programs that educate our young people. So with that being said, what do you have coming up? What do you want to share with the people? How can they keep up with you?
Well, I'm so excited. We're back at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Mall with Nothing But Black Flea Market. We'll be there this coming Saturday. We hadn't been there, so we're back. So I'm excited about that. So you guys come on out. You know, it's holiday times are coming, so come out and support all the vendors that are out there. They're going to be out there and stuff. They have great products. I have great products, so come out and support me. So I'm excited about that. I'm back there. And I'm just looking forward to, I guess, Halloween is coming up. I'm not going to dress up as anything. So don't worry about that. So then don't even try to think that I am, Tonya, because I'm not. And so don't even try to come at me saying we should know. Well, I'm not. Okay. So yeah, but I am looking forward to, I guess, Halloween. I'm not really a Halloween person, but I guess to see all the people that's going to post things on social media. I like to look at their costumes and stuff like that, and the little kids.
I'd be okay if they ex-nayed a Halloween off this, but
yeah,
whatever.
So that's all I have really going on. I'm just excited about being back, you know, at Nothing But Black. I'm glad that we're back, and hopefully we can stay there. But you know, with them selling the mall and the new ownership, that's kind of been up in the air. But we do have dates for November and December, so I'll be there. Doing my thing. Bang. Yeah.
Good. So Jay Halim will be out here this weekend. He is a part of the Somerville for Congress campaign kickoff this weekend. So your fraternity brother is running for Congress, Reverend Somerville. And Jay Halim is going to be heading off his small business expo this weekend in Long Beach. So we will be there. And then the next day, that's Saturday, and then Sunday, he has a book signing at Malik's Books in Culver City. So there's one in Carson and there's one in Culver City. So we'll be in Culver City on Sunday. And at some point, maybe we can all get together and do something really cool. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Sunday we'll be at Malik's
Books,
Culver City. Yeah, Malik's Books. Not Malik's, but Malik Books. We'll be there Sunday. So I guess I'm going to come out to that to support, you know, my fraternity brother, because you know me, I'm all about supporting my people that's, you know, doing their thing. So yeah, so y'all can catch us there at Malik's Books, and who knows, the coffee can might be out and about. Hey. You never know.
You never know. So keep up with us. You can always go to My Morning Coffee Drip on Instagram. Follow, and support Miss Gia, the Mahogany Box on IG, and Tonya McKenzie PR or Sand and Shores on all social media platforms. Easy breezy. You can always find us. If nothing else, Google us. We're there. You guys have a good rest of your day, and we will see you next week.